So when you say the North, somebody said, why I brought this is that somebody said the North didn't vote for, didn't agree for Obasanjo. Look, who gave Obasanjo the platform? Who called? We are not going to come in all of us as Northerners, but there are stakeholders who call the shots. I'm not going to call names, but you know the leaders in the PDP from the North who agreed to an Obasanjo presidency. And if they didn't agree, it wouldn't have Obasanjo wouldn't have been picked. And I can give you an instance too. They were the same people who agreed that they were going to support Jonathan in 2011. They were the same people that said they were not going to support him in 2015. They were the same people that said they would defeat Wiki in 2019. And they were the same people that said they were going to defeat Wiki in the primaries in 2023. So if you are dealing with politicians, you have to know how they think. If you put the knot in the whole box because of the Obasanjo presidency, you are not being fair. That's one. Then, secondly, Mr. Harry said all the states. I'm from Adama. In my state, there is no zoning. Everybody can contest to become a governor. We don't zone in that state. So if you say all the states, please, Adama is separate. And this is what I'm telling you from experience. This is what I'm telling you from experience. That in Adama, almost everybody can be voted for. So this is what I'm telling you. If you want to make it practical, let it be in the constitution, reason boldly. But for now, it's just mere noise. Even though that I feel that at some point in time, there should be equity and fairness. This is why I pray to see a day when an Igbo person will become the president. But if you say you're zoning something to the south only, and let's say somebody, a Yoruba keeps coming without actually somebody from southeast, that means you've shortened the southeast. If you are zoning into the north, there are more than 300 languages in the north. Hausa is not the only language in the north. There are also Christians in the north. So Nigeria is in a very complex situation. That's why I'm saying for us to be fair to ourselves so that we don't have this conversation ever again. Let's make it free. Let's talk to our people. Put it in the constitution that if power retains 8 years here, it goes back 8 years there. So that tomorrow somebody will not say, I am standing on my rights. Because for now, anything you say to anybody, you are disenfranchising the person. This is what Atiku keeps telling you, look, I have the right to contest. Even if it is in the constitution and it's a law in the land that power must remain for 4 years in the south, I dare Atiku will not contest. So I challenge you people and us too to take it up to our House of Assembly members, to our House of Rep members, to our senators. Let us put it in the constitution because it has become a problem, it has become a national discourse. That power must be rotated from north to south, but it's not in the constitution. So let us take it up to them, let them put it in the constitution so that we know that if power is in the south, it should remain in the south. And then you will see somebody who come up tomorrow and tell you that even in the south, Yorubas have done presidency twice or thrice. It must go to the Igbos. Even in the north, people like me who are not Hausa will tell you that look, the only president that we have produced in the north is Hausa. We produce Yaradua, we produce Buhari. Power must go back to the minorities. So Nigeria is a very complex situation. I'm just saying and I'm pleading for you to challenge your reps and senators. Let's put this in the constitution so that we don't have this conversation ever again. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, comrade. Please correct me if I'm wrong. You said in the north, the Hausas. Buhari is not Hausa. Buhari is Fulani. If I'm right, you're a northerner, you stand a better chance to correct me. And I think Buhari is not a Hausa man, isn't it? He wasn't.
Let me tell you, he's from Kasina, and Kasina is a Hausa man's land. Look, Fulani that you see in Kasina and actually Kanu are not actually core Fulanis like the ones in Adamawa like this. So I said something earlier, like about 4 years ago, I made a tweet. I said there's a day will come that Hausas will separate themselves from Fulanis and Fulanis will separate themselves from Hausas. Look, they are married now for political interest, but everybody will answer his father's name. And as you can see now, everybody is answering his father's name. If you go to Kasina, the crisis in Kasina is between Hausas and Fulanis. If you go to Kano, there's or Zamfara, There are now clashes between Hausas and Fulanis, and everybody is beginning to answer his father's name. Because the Fulanis are wanderers, they move from place to place. That's why they've been into places like the Kasina, but I can categorically tell you that Kasina is a Hausa man's land. So Buhari happens to be a Fulani, he's from Kasina, but Hausa, we consider Buhari as a Hausa. We don't see him as a Fulani. Us from the northeast. Exactly. Thank you.
Okay, that's fine. I wouldn't be. I'm not going to stay here to argue with you. That's what you guys consider him to be. That's your position. But he will tell you, or those around him will tell you that he's a Fulani man. But you said something, and I would like to respond and ask a question. I'm looking at the time. All right, let me hold on for a minute. Let me ask throw the same question to Captain. Then if there's enough time, then I will come back to you. Captain, are you still with us? So I would like to hear your take on this. Is Captain still with us? Please, somebody help me out. Am I still audible? Am I speaking?
Mindset, you're audible.
All right. So Captain is not responding. I was going to ask him his position on zoning, right? And I can see that Allah have just joined. Allah, what is your position on zoning?
Mindset. You know what? At times, the Nigerian political class and the Nigerian elites, they deserve each other. And the reason why I say this, I've just heard somebody go on about things and so. At times, why do people act as if Nigeria started in 1999? Are we meant to say everything that happened from 1960 to Abdul Salam's rule or regime should be just binned? When they talk, why is it that when it's only time for election that they remember that the North becomes one monolithic entity, and then the South is one? When you and I know that what you have you've got the Southwest, you've got the Southeast, you've got the South. Even in the North, you've got the Middle Belters. Like the previous caller, the previous speaker was saying, you've got the houses, you've got the Fulanis, you've got other. But why is it that we keep on going through this same recipe that has taken us nowhere? But when it comes to election time, we go back to it. It's like, oh, we have this zoning. Personal, even this same, I heard one of a previous caller say, oh, people should, there should be freedom of speech. People should not demonize Atiku for saying some things. But at the end of the day, when you are flip flopping over this, 1 minute you want to zone, 1 minute you don't want to zone, then I'm sorry, you have to be taken with your antecedents. The PDP election primaries in 2019? It had an all northern cast. So what are we talking about? Now, but it's like, so when it suits you, it's fine. When it doesn't suit you, then you make an argument for it. Then at the end of the day, then you're not not just him, by the way, let me just put it out there. Nigerian politicians or politicians generally, they like to flip-flop based on what suits them. And this is what some of their supporters are carrying, because the number of times we've heard about, since the problem, some elements in the north are not happy, or their biggest gripe with Jonathan was that he completed Musa Yar'Adua's tenure. The reason why PAN needs to go back to the north is that Yar'Adua's time, they didn't complete their time. Come on. When did it become a case of pass the ball like lawn tennis? You have a shot, I have a shot. What about the groups that has never ever held power in Nigeria? Are they less Nigerians? Yesterday there was a program on TVC to celebrate about the independence, and I was talking, what makes you a Nigerian? And that question rang in my mind, even though I didn't follow the program as much as I wanted to. What makes a Nigerian? Why should it be a case that it's only some people that can say, okay, yes, the power belongs to us, so it's our birthright? Why? I've said this before on your space before. Look at the Southwest before somebody accuses me of being a bigot or a tribalist, if I use an example from another part. The Southwest have had MKO, General Dia, Awolowo, Oshibajo, Shoneko, Obasanjo, all come from a same state. So what about the rest of the states in the Southwest, who's never produced a president or a vice president? Are they lesser people? So when people start doing this, this part you go to the South, we just celebrated being 65 yesterday. And you look back and you think, have we made really progress? But when we hear these kind of discussions, you tend to think, I don't think we have. That's me for now, mindset.
So you do not think that we should focus more on zoning? Rather, you probably want somebody who is competent enough to move the country forward. That's what you will go for.
Mindset. As I think it was Henry that said it earlier on, that Nigeria is a peculiar case. And I'll give examples. When Abacha died, the next 3 senior officers were Jeremiah Husseini, one of the Bamayis, I can't remember the third one. They were all not picked because they felt like it would cause an imbalance. So they went with Abdul Salam. Now, before then, there was a case during, after General Ironzi was killed. Yakubu Gowon was not the most senior person next. So what are we talking about this thing about? The Nigerian reality is that zoning it only works when it suits them. It's only worked when it suits the people who want power. Zoning has never been in the interest of the average Nigerians. I'm happy to be proven wrong. But based on what I know and what we've seen in the space called Nigeria since 1960, they only use zoning when it suits them. Shebi, we saw when Buhari was running and he said, go and get me a VP candidate. And the person who brought the name said, no, he brought a Muslim name. And he said, we don't want a Muslim ticket. What happened 8 years later? It was the same Muslim ticket that they were going on against that we ended up with. Just as people have said time and time again here, the Nigerian politicians or Nigerian leaders, they are the most pretentious people you could meet, because when it suits them, they will spin a narrative and make it sound fine. The same Muslim ticket, not being we end up with now. I hope that answers your question, mindset.
Thank you very much, Ola. Always a pleasure to have you on the platform. Teke, you're back. I didn't know what happened earlier on. You're back. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I don't know what happened myself. I just found myself on the listening section while I was speaking. Look, I'll just make my concluding remarks on that one. I can even drop down to the listening section if I have to. I don't think anybody should dwell on constitutional amendments to make or hope as a tool come 2027, because anything can happen at any time, and can become or in our constitution. The English language has been proven to be flexible when it enters the court of law. Zoning. I don't necessarily like zoning, but like everybody agrees so far, Nigeria's situation is peculiar. I would encourage zoning because it gives some form, even if it is elusive, belonging to every section of the country. Now, I'm not saying go to every tribe in Nigeria. We have a structure right now that is recognized, which is the 6 political zones. I think at the very least, we should all agree, use that template to zone whoever comes out to run for presidency. And that thing about merit, from the same family, there's merit in every part of this country can produce people with merit, people are captains of certain industries. So merit is not found in one zone or one tribe or one people. There's merit. There are examples of people that have achieved great deal of with massive accomplishments everywhere in the country. So merit, while merit can be found everywhere, the only thing that is missing in this situation, so that we can stop all this bite fighting and start healing the country, and so that Nigeria can actually start moving in the right direction. If you want to put it in the constitution, put it in the constitution. I don't care what you do, how you get it done. For this zoning thing, it will only help. It cannot hurt. That's my perspective. I think it will start healing the country, where one day a thief man can say, yes, he was president of Nigeria. Or the thief people can say, we had a president or we had a vice president. The Jukun people can say, we had a president or we had a vice president. You know, the, the, Asian man can say, yes, we had a vice president or we had a president. It will only help. So I just want to, those are the 2 points I just wanted to just make sure I make clear. Do not dwell on the Constitution, come 2027, because it has been baptized, has it stands still today, because the person in power right now is a symbol of the baptizing of our Constitution. 2, I support zoning based on the 6th political zone. And for the simple reason that it will start healing the country in some form or fashion. Those are we have examples, plethora of examples about everything as everybody has said. Let's stop dwelling on the sins of our fathers and find a way to move the country forward. And the sins of the fathers that are still alive, committing more sins, somebody should appeal to them to stop and start directing the ship the right way, because they're still alive and they're still capable of directing the ship in the right direction. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Teke. Great to know that you're back to finish your submission. Now, your point is you're not against zoning, you're for zoning. And then, so it has to go with the geopolitical zones we have in Nigeria. If Nigerians agree that it has to be zoning, so you see, the Southwest has produced presidents twice, right, since 1999. So we are talking about Muhammadu Buhari, the late, and the late Yar'Adua. So those are from the Southwest. Now let's go to Northwest. I do apologize. I know people. Let me start again before somebody go ahead and misquote me. The Northwest has produced 2 presidents: the late Muhammadu Buhari from Katsina State and the late Yar'Adua from Katsina State. The Southwest has produced 2 as it stands right now, and that's Obasanjo and the current one, Paul Ahmed Tinubu. That's the Southwest. The South has produced Goodluck Jonathan. So we are left with the North Central, the Southeast, and the Northeast, right? From the Southeast, we have Peter Obi. I mean, there might be others who would like to, So if we are going with this zoning thing, that's what Nigerians want from 2027. So we have Peter Obi from the Southeast. Then we have Atiku Abubakar from the Northeast. I do not know who else is coming from the North Central. Might be somebody will come from the North Central. So do we then agree that, okay, it would be fair to allow these 3 zones to give them the opportunity? I mean, one cannot tell Bola Ahmed Tinubu not to contest. He's there. So do we then agree that for any political party that these individuals are part of, right, that those, they have to consider the fact that none of those areas or political zones have produce the president? Is that what Nigerians are looking for come 2027? So we have to go to Southeast or Northeast, or we go to North Central. I mean, if Bola Tinubu continues in 2027, I mean, that's it. So maybe 2031, we change it again. Is that what Nigerians want? Is that what everybody agrees to? Is that what you guys would like to see moving forward? Anybody can raise their hand and respond to it if you wish to. Right, Teke, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, just simply because I was the last one to speak on this. Yes, in the larger scheme of zoning, I personally have no problem with in North Central, Northeast, where Atiku Abubakar will represent, and Peter Obi from the Southeast come out, emerge as the people that fight for the presidency. But let's not forget also my original positioning. It needs to be within a framework of 8 years in the North, 8 years in the South. Within that Venn diagram of 8 years in the North and 8 years in the South, then you can now apply, if it's going to the South, these are the candidates that, or the zones in the South that we need to give them the space to do this thing out. If it goes back to the North, then we say the Northwest and Northeast, North Central and Northeast need to we need to zone it into these two categories and make sure that these are the guys that we give them the space and support to see who will emerge from that. So you, at that point, you have a clean, clear direction on what is supposed to be said, and everybody rallied around that framework to make it happen. But you just leave it, oh, okay, because Southwest has finished, all of a sudden you can go back to the North. You're 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 causing more injury to the psyche of the people in the South who believe that the Northerners just finished 8 years. You need to create a framework where even if the end result may not be 100% satisfactory by that zone, they have been given the fair chance to compete without interruptions. And that's why I believe that that framework of 8 years in the North, 8 years in the South needs to be adhered to. Within that framework, you pick the zones that have not been represented. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, JK. Do we have any other person who would like to respond to that? Barrister Handy or Lan, comrade, please go ahead. You raise your hand.
Okay, thank you very much, Mindset. Like you explained it, I am from the Northeast, and since '99, we've never been given a chance to rule this country. And the Northwest have taken two chances already, and the Southwest have taken two chances already. So it is now high time. And not South has also taken a chance. It's now high time to give it at least to the Southeast or the Northeast or North Central. It's fair. I mean, we've never produced a president, but you see, this is what I'm saying. It's a very complex situation. And if we begin, that's why I keep saying, if we begin to dissect this thing, then soon somebody from Borno who is a Kanuri will now tell you when it's the time of the Northeast, will now tell you that look, the Fulanis in Adama, or people from Jukun, or people from other tribes in Adama, is now the turn of the Kanuri. We are very complex. It is quite disheartening. Look, nobody when people want to contest for presidential elections in the US, even though their democracy is stronger than ours, nobody says it should come from black Americans, it should come from white Americans. No, they vote based on their parties and based on their beliefs, based on their morals that this person will perform. It is based on merit. So the fact that we keep pushing this presidency into zones, I understand that there is inequity. And the fact that we keep sizing this presidency according to Zoom actually derails the aim for a better governance. You hear people say that if a northerner emerges, they rather vote Tinubu again. Go ahead and vote for him. All of us will suffer. You're not threatening anybody. If another emerges, go and vote for Tinubu. Look, am I the only person that will suffer in Nigeria? No. You are in Nigeria, you're going to suffer too. So nobody should threaten anybody. But if we want to make zoning a principle in this country, then it should be constitutional. What's so hard? So that we cannot be talking about zoning for 3 hours. For 30, for 4 years, since 2011, we've been talking about zoning till date. If it's touching us so well, make it constitutional. You have House of Reps, you have senators. Let them go and debate it, put it in the constitution. So that people like Atiku will know that look, I cannot take the ticket in 2027 because it's the turn of the South. But anything short of that, they're just making noise because it's not constitutional. But I believe in equity. And I believe that, look, if Atiku will not get the ticket, it rather goes to Peter Obi because it's from Southeast and service has not produced any person, any presidential candidate. So that's my position. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Comrade. So let me react to some of the things that you said. You made reference to America. Yes, it would appear that sometimes they go with somebody who they believe is competent enough to lead, but sometimes race and gender play a little bit of a role in it. And I will tell you, during the last election, there are quite a number of persons who believe in Kamala Harris, not because they believe that the Biden administration did better than Trump administration, but they believe it would be a good thing for um, a woman, right? And then it would be a good thing to have, and not only the woman, just to have a woman of a different race. So some individual, let's say maybe 1% or maybe more, who voted on that. So people's way and belief and manner in which they decide to vote for a candidate plays a part in it. So yes, America go with competence if we want to go that area, but some of them, some persons like to vote for somebody because they believe these individuals need to be given a chance. Let's just try and do something different. Thank you very much, Comrade. So I pass the mic to Barrister Henry.
Thank you, Mindset. So, back to this issue about zoning being in the constitution. And, like I said in the past, I find it a little bit misleading. When our Oga comrade was speaking and he was saying, even in Adama, and I dare say, I'll repeat it again, there's no state in Nigeria that doesn't practice zoning. That's a fact. Even Adama, you made mention of, a simple Google search will show you that there have been clamors for zoning in Adamawa governorship. It's part of the conversation. People will tell you Boni Haruna, who is from Adamawa North, was governor for 8 years. Murtala Nyako was governor for 8 years from Adamawa South. He went back to Bindo, who was governor for 4 years, then to Fintiri again for 8 years. And now people are now shouting that they are making a case for Adamawa Central Zone. There's nothing to be ashamed of. The Nigerian constitution talks about federal character principle. In fact, when it comes to appointment of commissioners or ministers, it will tell you state by state, local government by local government. This has been a reality of the Nigerian state, whether it is to protect minority or to protect different types of tribes. So if anybody is beginning to tout that argument now that, because it's not in the constitution, we can behave any way we should behave, it's very suspicious because it's not true. Every state has zoning, federal character, quota system embedded. Even the way we allocate resources, for God's sake, in this country recognizes minority, because we always like to talk about the fact that we're doing things, as brothers to carry everybody along, which, is just one of those things with Nigerian states. So we should just be very cautious about when we make this type of remarks. Whatever the case may be, I believe that if it is clearly stated in the constitution, say, for instance, even the federal character principle is not exactly justiciable because it's under chapter 2 of the Nigerian constitution. And under that chapter, it talks about, some of the directive principles of state policy. However, you go to some other parts and it's telling you if you're a governor who is appointing commissioners, you must endeavor to appoint at least one from each local government, or if you're a president appointing ministers, endeavor to appoint one from each state. All these are semblances or nuances of zoning, federal character, quota system. So let nobody even fool us and tell us that those things can just be discarded. Funny enough, even those who are speaking, whether a member of the PDP and APC, do you not follow PDP and APC national conventions? At all the points where they appoint NWC, is a bulk of the conversation, not who is going where. This is going to the northwest, treasurer is going to the southeast, blah, blah, blah. That has been the reality. So anybody who comes down who is trying to make it look like as though because it is not clearly written in the constitution, it should be jettisoned, it is very suspicious and misleading because that's not true. Zoning I personally am not a fan of zoning, but it is a function of the Nigerian system. And it's not something we can discard now to say we want to draw an analogy to the US. The US is not Nigeria. They have peculiar realities. They were not forced together by Lord Lugard. They do not have the type of political expediencies as we do. They do not have over 250 tribes and over 400 languages in the US. So we're unique. And part of this uniqueness is in over time trying to develop principles that carry everybody along. Hopefully, we get to the point in the future where zoning and federal character and all those will dissipate. Yes, hopefully, that's my hope that we gradually evolve to that point. But as it is today, there are some of those principles that must be put in place to protect minorities. There are some of those principles that must be put in place to acknowledge our diversity. And political parties do it, churches do it. At the time of national election, we do it in all the states. Senatorial districts are always a factor to consider in production of governors. In many states, tribe is a function of who becomes governor. In some states, even religious denomination. That is just the political reality of Nigeria, and it must be something we must consider for 2027. Anybody who tells us don't consider it, it doesn't matter because it's not written in the constitution is very suspicious. Thank you, myself.
All right, I'll pass the mic to Ola. Ola, you have the mic, sir.
Um, it's funny that Henry just said, like you said, all states practice some form of zoning, whether it's by tribe or region, or even look at Kaduna State until was it Nasser's time? They used to have a Christian deputy governor, which he decided to jettison. Like I said earlier on, um, we had or we have a Muslim ticket now running. So that just goes to show that even though when those things were inserted in the constitution with quota system, federal character, the idea behind it is good, but in reality, politicians will find their way to negate this. And when they do, permit me to use a phrase that it was used a long time on this your space. When it's used, heaven doesn't fall. Heaven will not go fall, and it hasn't fallen. That goes to show you what Nigerians are like. At the end of the day, they will just be, and not necessarily subservient, but they'll just take what it is and they'll just move on. That's just what I wanted to add.
All right, thank you very much, Ola, for your submission. Now, yes, Barrister Henry, let me come back to this idea that every state practice zoning. There are people who would disagree with you, and they look at states like Imo State. Since 1999, a particular zone, the Olu zone, has produced 3 governors. Then the other 2 zones, I think the Okigwe zone only produced one governor, or Hakim, who was only there for 4 years. But the Olu zone has produced I can't remember their names now. The first guy did 8 years. Then Rochas Okorocha did 8 years. Hope Uzodinma is completing his 8 years. So there is another zone called the Owerri zone, who has not produced anything, right? Now, how do you now compare that Imo State is practicing zoning? It's not practicing zoning. Let me finish. Please, sir, let me land. I'm just going to bring out one more state and I would allow you to respond. Thank you very much, sir. Now, you go to a place like Benue State. Since 1999, please correct me if I'm wrong, the thieves have been producing the governors, right? There are other tribes in Benue State who should be given opportunity. So how is it that one would then argue that states are practicing zoning? Let me stop with these 2 states. I would have come to other states, but let me allow you to respond. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mindset. But you're asking very interesting questions, but I think these are the facts. When you talk about zoning, and that's why I like what the last speaker said. I said every state in Nigeria practices some form of zoning. You rightly said that in Imo, you have Owerri zone, Okigwe zone, and Olu zone. The only reason you know about these zones is because they talk about it during election. People will say, Rochas ran for governor, you're from Olu zone. We cannot allow you come again because you're from Olu zone. In fact, we rejected your son-in-law because he's from Olu zone. If not that the Supreme Court did their abracadabra that made Hope Uzodinma, who is also from Olu zone, to become governor, Hope came forth. The election should have gone to Owerri zone with Ihe Dioha. We've had time when people will say, you know what, Okigwe zone, and that's why Ararume has always been the forefront of the Okigwe zone. Mind you, when even they bring a governor from Olu zone, they say, let us bring a deputy from Owerri zone or Okigwe zone. That has been the way it's been. Even if you go to Benue, they do these things by senatorial districts. You will never see any state in Nigeria that has a governor and the deputy governor from the same senatorial district. Ask yourself why. It's zoning. Whether it is by zone, whether it is by religious denomination configuration, whether it is by Christian, Muslim, all these are factors that we check when we talk about zoning, federal character, quota system. In Kaduna, the same thing. In Plateau State, the same thing. In Enugu State, the same thing. And that is why you even mentioned, like, imagine you, for instance, far away from Imo State, because you're not from Imo State, knowing Olu, Okigwe, and Owerri zone. The only reason is because these are factors we talk about, we consider during election. And there is no state that you mention that does not put into consideration all these factors. Whether you go to Gombe, whether you go to Bauchi, it's the same thing. And that's why you will never find any state where the governor and the deputy governor come from the same senatorial district. Even in places like Kogi, some of the issues they had with Yahaya Bello was because he was bringing a successor from Okene local government, which is from, I think, is Kogi Central. You will find that the person who was the second in the election, I think was under SDP or so, who happened to be Igala, if I'm not mistaken, amassed a huge number of votes that ordinarily would have not swung the SDP way. But that huge chunk of support was people reacting to what they had erstwhile considered to be the zoning system in the country. Igala, no Igala. Should it continue to remain in the central? These are all factors that we think about in every election. When we talk about the presidency, these factors are now back on board. So the point I'm making is it is going to be suspicious to say, let us just proceed without considering these things, because we have always considered them. We would continue to consider them until perhaps we get to a point where tribe and religion don't have the type of influence they have today. But they do, unfortunately. Thank you, mindset.
All right, thank you very much, Barrister Henry. Arguing with lawyers is quite a very difficult thing, right? They will always find a way to put one word there that will make you feel okay. Actually, you begin to convince yourself that you don't even know what you're saying. But always a pleasure to listen to Barrister Henry and every other person. But before I pass the mic to the new speaker, let me quickly read out what's going on in the comment section. Okay, let me go to my DM first. Is this okay? Now, please, guys, it's not that I cannot force any lady to be a speaker, right? This platform is gender friendly. We allow everybody to air their view. Somebody's complaining, why is it that we don't really have a lot of women speaking on this platform? Yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, we had the lady, I think two ladies spoke, Health is Wealth, and another lady spoke. And today, maybe because of time, most people are at work, right? I cannot force people to be speakers, right? If it's a man or a woman, they are welcome to be part of the conversation. So the platform is a gender-friendly platform, which I believe some of you will attest to that. We allow people to air their view. It doesn't matter which religion you belong to, which sect you belong to, as long as you are here to, be part of the conversation, respect the things we want you, the way we run this platform, and then you'll be given opportunity. So if there's any lady out there who wants to be part of the conversation, please do request for the mic, indicate by, if I'm not able to see you, just put a comment on the comment section and I'll be able to do my best to bring you up. But let me quickly read out some of the things going on the comment section. We have geoscientists say Yobe states are not practicing zoning too. So somebody saying this thing is not happening in Yobe State. Then we have, I cannot pronounce this name, TCS. It said, according to the selectorate by Chidadi Kano, it points out the issue of zoning predict democracy in the context of the book. The author explained the implication of zoning, its pros and cons in the Nigerian judicial and how it laid the foundation of the problem. Thank you very much. Mr. Aminu Ibrahim said, Nigeria is reported to have over 250 plus ethnic groups. Is Teke saying we have to zone the presidency to each of them to have equity, justice, and fairness? That's with question mark. Because he mentioned that thieves and others have not had a president. Is this going to be possible? All right. We have Big Sam saying requesting for the mic. All right, then I'm still here, Mr. Host, and others who are requesting. Please do indicate that you're requesting for the mic, and we'll bring you up. Take it. There was a question there for you, but before I pass the mic for you to respond to Aminu, we have a new speaker here, Jimmy Abia. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. My pleasure being with you. Yeah, please, I'd like a little time. So maybe I can pass for now, and maybe you come back later to me because I just got something to do in the office just now. So, yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I hope that when you finish what you're doing, we're still going to be here because, as always, I just open on these spaces just to interact with people, and before you know it, we turn it into spaces. So I do not know how long we're going to be here, but hopefully.
I quite understand. However it goes, yeah, I'll be fine with it. Yeah.
That's okay, but please focus on what you're doing. If we, we'll find a way to accommodate you since there are some others who are still interested in the conversation, right? Please, I want you to focus more on your work. I don't want anybody to lose their job or make a mistake because they want to contribute. But thank you very much for joining us this evening. Barrister Henry, you raise your hand.
Yes, Mindset, thank you. Just to respond to Yobe. Yobe has 3 senatorial zones: Yobe East, Yobe North, Yobe South. I dare say that all the states have 3 senatorial districts. There is no state that has a governor and a deputy governor from the same senatorial district. If it is not a function of zoning, then what is it? Are you saying it is just chance that the governor comes from Yobe East and the deputy comes from Yobe North? Or the governor comes from Yobe North and the deputy comes from Yobe South? Then when it comes to the time for speaker, you hear people say, we have A, B from zone A and zone B. Why don't the speaker go to zone C? Why are we denying this reality here? If it is not to, because to me, it looks like it is to a mischievous end. Because all states have 3 zones. And none of those states, none of the 36 of them, have a governor and a deputy from the same zone. For some other states, zoning is even so endemic that it goes beyond even senatorial zones. They begin to consider religion. So in Benue now, you will not have a thief governor and a thief deputy governor. In Kogi, you will not have an Igala governor and Igala deputy governor. That is for states that are multi-ethnic. So whether you like it or not, there's one form of zoning or another operational in all the states in Nigeria. This is our political reality. And anybody who is telling you that for 2027, because it is not in the constitution, it is of no force, that is a suspicious argument. Thank you, Mindset.
All right, Ola, please go ahead. You raised your hand.
Yeah, I just wanted to buttress what Henry was saying. Take an example of Ondo State. The governorship since 99, Agagu, Mimiko, um, Adefarati, what's his name now? The son that died before Ayedatiwa, Aketi, Akeidolu. They were all from a different senatorial zone. That's the way they pick the governors from Ondo State. And when you have a governor from one zone, the deputy comes from another zone. And I use the example of Kaduna State, where you had another form of zoning where the governor is Muslim and the deputy governor is a Christian. It happened until El Rufai changed that. So, in one form or the other, most states have a form of zoning that they practice. Yeah, that's the mindset.
Sorry. I do apologize. I have okay. Take it. Please go ahead. You raise your hand.
Yeah, I just wanted to respond to Aminu, and I think there's no need to respond to that right now because the last two speakers have clearly shown that we have a structure that exists right now for zoning. And if Aminu, maybe he didn't hear that part where I spoke about currently existing the 6 geopolitical zones we have in the country right now. So that's the framework I'm talking about when I talk about zoning. Within that framework that exists today, with these geopolitical zones we have all recognized, there's no need to reinvent the wheel. The wheel is already there. We just need to make sure that we put the right pegs into the sections of the wheel that exists today. It's easy, or else you want to be mischievous about it. The current framework exists to allow sane distribution based on zones. Thank you.
Thank you very much, TK. Comrade, you're still with us, right? Because I do have a question for you. Is Comrade still here? Ola, please, somebody needs to help me out. Is Comrade still here? Hello?
I can still see him on the speakers section, but he's muted.
Okay, Comrade, your mic is on. It appears you're speaking, but we cannot hear you. So I would like, if it's possible, I want to throw this question to you because of what you said earlier. So I just wanted to make sure that you're able to respond to it. Please, if you can hear me, sir, please can you kindly unmute your mic and let us know that you can hear us. Please, can any other person hear him? Because I can't hear a single word. His mic is on, but I can't hear anything. So I just wanted to make sure it's not from my end. Can you guys hear him?
His mic is showing. Okay, now it's off, but earlier on, it was showing that he was muted.
Oh, we cannot hear him. It doesn't sound like he's speaking. We don't see the indications that he's speaking, even though it's unmuted. It's not muted, so who knows what's here. Maybe having problems.
Okay, Comrade, I'm not sure if it's safe to do so. Can you kindly, sir, leave the platform and rejoin? Because I would like you to respond to this question. You said something that I would like you to, I'd like to find out, from you why what happened in 2013. Do you? Of course, he's still here, but he's not responding. So anyway, so as I wait for Comrade and others who would like to join, hopefully we'll get a lady to be part of the conversation. Now, so what happens? I'm not saying that each geopolitical zone, there's nobody who is competent in those political zones. We have, I mean, in every village, you find somebody who they would tell you this person is the, with everybody can say we can vow for this individual. I mean, in every village in Nigeria or in any community in Nigeria. But let me just throw this out there. So I would like to hear your response, every one of you on the platform. Now, there are those who would argue that Bola Ahmed Tinubu has not done well. Yes, it was the south part of the south, turn of the south. People clamor that Buhari has done 8 years, then he's coming to the south. What happens if we find somebody from the north central or the southeast, or sorry, let me just play this devil advocate right from the north. We find somebody in the northeast or the northwest or the north central who, for some reason, Nigerians would like to believe that this individual can help and move this country to the right direction. Are we going to then say that no, we're going to overlook this person, right? Because the South needs to finish their 8 years. I would like anybody who would like to respond to this. I know it's quite a very interesting one.
Mindset, let me start. Now, first of all, I think we're putting the cart before the horse. Right now, the only party that, based on what we know now, that has a candidate for the election in 2027 is APC, because they want the incumbent to run again. The other 2 or 3 parties who are in opposition, so that's the PDP, the ADC, and Labour Party, have not gotten a candidate yet. They haven't done their primary, so they don't have a flag bearer. Let me put it that way. So now, going back to one of the points that somebody made earlier on, probably like an hour ago, like when APC wanted to get rid of Jonathan, they all brought all their forces together into an arsenal to get rid of PDP and Goodluck Jonathan in 2015. Now, these 3 parties, or these 3 opposition parties, I don't think they have it in them to have a common goal or a singular person as a figure, as an arrowhead, to say, look, we need to put all our eggs in one basket to get this party, the current APC party, out of power in 2027. So if I can't see them doing that, Because even within the ADC, you've got Rotimi Ameki saying, I will only serve one term. You've got Jonathan Goodluck going to meet David Mark, doing a visit. You've got some people saying, oh, Sheyi Makinde should run for PDP. You've got all sorts of things. So you can see that they haven't gotten their house in order. And if we go by the last election, having two parties run side by against APC, they're just splitting their votes, which means it's going to be easier for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and APC to get re-elected. So I hope that answers your question in a roundabout way.
Thank you very much. You answer like a politician. So, in as much as you claim you're not, this is the way politicians answer questions. They will actually find a way to put you in a very tight corner. That's really interesting. Thank you, sir, for the wonderful submission. Captain, are you able to hear me? Can anybody hear Captain? He did send a message that he's speaking, but I'm not able to hear him. Can anybody hear him? Please, those who are able to hear.
He's just gone on. He keeps on showing muting his speaker, and then he's going off on and off.
Let's try. Thank you, Ola. Captain, please try once more. Let's see if we're able to hear you. Okay, so it's not only from my end. I'm not able to hear you. Ola is not able to hear you. Let's try Comrade. Comrade, are you back now? Comrade Mo, are you back? Okay, this problem is not from my side, right? Hello.
Yeah, I
You're
can hear you,
audible,
Mindset.
Okay, yeah, Comrade, you're back. Thank you very much. So let me throw this question to you. So, in the course of your submission earlier on, you did say that some groups, you mentioned their names, who I don't want to misquote you, but let me paraphrase that. But if for any reason I misquoted you, please do let me know, then I can correct myself, right? So you did say that there are some groups, these religious sects or some groups in the north who, if you want to win an election, if these people are with you, then you stand a better chance because you make reference to Obasanjo in 1998, prior to 1999 election. Then you talk about some sort of set of people supporting Goodluck Jonathan in 2011. Am I right? So I can continue.
Yeah, I was given for instance, with a particular people, but there are many of them, not just a single particular group. So I just picked them as a random sampling, but they are not the only people.
I wanted to know, thank you, sir. I wanted to know, so those that you singled out, if it's safe to do so, please, can you tell us who those individuals supported in, in 2023 election? Who is their candidate? If there is 5 or 6 of, 7 candidates they have there, are you able to tell us?
Okay, thank you very much, Mindset. When APC was shuffling for support in northern Nigeria, when they chose the Muslim ticket, who drives their agenda? It's not the Muslim society, most especially Jibwis, from the Sheikh in Jos, who is part of the Sunni sect in the northern Nigeria. So these are the caliber of people. When Jonathan wanted to come in 2011, if you remember, he went to Sheikh Dahiru Bauchi. When Jonathan wanted to make peace with the southern vote, when he called Obasanjo asked him to meet who? Bishop Oyedepo. So these are the caliber of people that you go and meet as a politician from first-hand knowledge. You don't just go and meet the voters themselves. Most of these voters you see don't even have anybody in mind. It is who their pastor, their imam, or somebody they respect tells them to vote. That's where they are going. So if you're a politician or if you happen to be where Nigerian politicians talk and think about politics, nobody discusses about masses or like the voters maybe per vote. No, they just tell you, okay, if you're going to, okay, how do we get 3 or 4 million votes in the north? Okay, we have the CAN, Christian Association of Nigeria. We have the Jibwis, that's the Sunni part in the Islam. We have the Tinjania, who are that's the Rika sect, who are from Sheikh Dahiru Bauchi. Okay, how do you get towards their leaders so that they can endorse us? And this is what these political parties have been doing since 1999. If you go to the south, okay, what is the dominant religion? What is the dominant tribe? How do you get to their leaders? It's a norm in Nigeria, which is actually sad, because if you look at it, the Muslim ticket did not transcend into good governance. I mean, even the Muslims who voted for the Muslim ticket are now, most of them are now regretting their decision. So you see, many of them voted because it was a Muslim ticket. But when it comes to governance, when it comes to insecurity, these things are not based on yardsticks of religion. If somebody doesn't have it in him, he cannot give it to you, even if it's a Muslim ticket. I mean, there are bandits attacking in Kasina to the extent that the citizens have felt, look, it's better to go and dialogue with the bandits. And they were the ones who voted for the Muslim ticket. Did it transcend to good security for them? No. So the average masses doesn't have time to think for himself. That's why the politicians have realized that, and they are using the leaders to control them. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I think I remember the sheikh you're making reference to, the one that supported Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But then again, prior to the announcement that he supported, I believe, I'm not a Muslim, please correct me if I'm wrong, I believe there was something akin to a vote, and some persons say, no, they're not going to support him. So they kind of like divided their votes. Am I right? Or is there a different?
Yeah, you are right. Some of the Muslims, depending on the sect, divided the votes. But those who were following him actually voted for Muslim ticket. But those who were not who were not members of his sect, refused and voted for the candidate they felt. There are some people who are just Muslims, but they're not part of a particular sect. They vote for whoever they want. But what I'm trying to tell you is that those under the sect comes in large numbers, and it is normal for
No,
politicians to. Okay.
yeah, I do know that there's some Muslims voted against the Muslim. I'm talking about the sheikh that you made reference to in, I can't remember. Is it straight? I don't
His
want to
name
put.
is Yahya Jingir in
Thank
Jos.
you very much. So I mean, from what I heard, it appears as not, some persons in the sect that he's part of did not, follow this, the same direction. There are some individuals in that sect who said they're not going to go for Muslim tickets. So I mean, some persons followed him, and there are those who did not follow him. Am I right?
Yes, you are
In
right.
that,
There's a
okay,
faction.
So in that particular case, I'm not talking about in Muslims in general. But thank you. But then let me react to the other thing that you said about you make reference to some Nigerian politics. People will listen to their religious leaders, and you call the pastors and the other thing. Something happened then most people would then argue that this what they will call structure, right? And if you don't have the structure, but something happened in 2023. And I want to believe that you know this, and I believe others would agree to this, or maybe they can disagree. Something happened in 2023. Some individuals or some young people, some Nigerians found a candidate, and they felt that they are going to vote for this candidate. I do not want to believe that a lot of persons that voted for Peter Obi, please, I'm not campaigning for him, right? Voted because their pastors only said that they should vote him, or maybe the Muslims say they should vote for him. I will tell you why, or maybe their governors say they should. When the whole obedient movement thing started, it started like, permit me to use the word, it looks like a fluke, right? It looks like a joke. And if you remember, one of the governors who spoke earlier on was the governor of Edo State, Obaseki. He was warning those who choose not to listen that these guys, this thing might, I'm paraphrasing, please, this thing might look like a joke here. But in every family, you have an obedient. I don't know if you remember that statement, because you're a member of the PDP, so just yeah. So I want to believe that there are people who still have their own minds, be it a Muslim, be it a Christian. There are a lot of Muslims who stood against this Muslim tickets, even though their religious leaders said, yes, we have to do this. There are a lot of Muslims who said, no, we're not going to vote for this candidate, not because he's a Muslim. We are looking for somebody who's competent, right? So I don't want us to have this thing, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't want to have this thing that, we have to follow the sect or our religious leader. We have the mind of our own. But comrade, you can raise your hand if you disagree with me, sir. I'm quite happy to listen to your own side of the story.
Okay, thank you very much. Mindset, you see, the people who are capable of having the mind of their own are those who are learned. Like me, like you, we have the mind of our own because what? We know what is wrong and what is right. The people who you go on the day of election to buy their vote with spaghetti, somebody you are buying his vote for spaghetti for something as low as 1,000 naira. Do you think he has a mindset to say no to either his religious or political godfather? Somebody you are buying his vote for just because of one spaghetti. But can you buy my vote with a spaghetti? No. Why? Because we're having the discussion. I keep telling you, I said, look, if you come, well, the reason why I come on Twitter is because I find people of like minds. I find people I can discuss with and I can learn and they can learn from me. That's why I don't go on Facebook. But let me tell you, if you want the demography of people who actually vote in Nigeria, they are on Facebook. But the level of understanding of the political atmosphere is quite low on Facebook. So if today I want to capture the minds of voters in Nigeria, most especially those in the grassroots, I go on Facebook. But if I want to know how the average learned Nigeria thinks about political atmosphere, I'll come on Twitter. So those people there are not capable, maybe some of them, but I know a lot are not capable and cannot say no to either their religious or political godfathers. And that is why you see when a Nigerian leader deceives, cheats his own people, they will rather love him than the person who is opening their eyes to the truth. And I can give you for instance, but let me keep it here. I hope you understand what I mean. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I mean, it's an open platform, and I always say if it's safe to do so, some things we might not want to say them publicly. But let me react to the issue of Facebook. Yeah, I do believe there are some persons who, like to campaign on Facebook. But for everything that happened in 2023 election, right? The wave of 2023 election, the way 2023 election is something that not only this generation, the generation coming would learn about what the young people did in 2023 election. You cannot take that away from Twitter. Everything and anything that happened in 2023 election, the wave. So I think maybe those on Facebook came on Twitter, they learned how these young people were able to put themselves together and change the narrative of what Nigerian politics should look like. A place whereby whether you have there's structure, right? They just make sure that whether you have structure or you don't have structure, we are going out there and we are going to say this is what it is. I mean, other things happen. Those that have structures, if you want to believe that, decided to change the election results as others, as most Nigerians believe that's what transpired. But one cannot take away the impact of what these people did on Twitter. So Facebook is good. I'm not going to say people shouldn't be on Facebook, but the conversations of Nigerian politics, if you want to hear the hardcore conversation of Nigerian politics, it starts from Twitter, and then the people of Facebook will join. That's why you see every serious president in the world or prime minister, they see them on Twitter. Twitter is a very strong, it's a very strong force, though. Seriously, that's why I always admire every one of you who continue to maintain your Twitter account. It's a very strong force. So those on Facebook will do what they want to do, but then you cannot take that away from those on Twitter. But before I pass the mic to Take Care, as we round up quickly, you see this thing that people will sell their vote. Yes, there are people who sold their vote. I think majority sold their votes. But there are those who did not sell their votes. And I will tell you this, please, you can take me on this and do research on it. There are those who, at all costs, it doesn't matter what it takes, they stood and they say, we are going to vote for our candidate. Now, in Rivers State, Atiku, for a reason best known to him, decided not to, travel to Rivers State to campaign, right? Yes, and Wike made it very clear that he's not going to support him. But then, even in the villages, it was difficult for some of those people who support Atiku to vote. But there are those who still voted for him there. Even at risk of risking of losing their lives, there are those who voted for Atiku in Rivers State. If you go to Borno State, right? Now, most people don't know this. Peter Obi did very well in Borno State, right? I mean, personally, Atiku won Borno State. I know that INEC gave it to APC, but Atiku won Borno State. But Peter Obi did extremely well in Borno State. Now, I do not know. Maybe, please don't quote me, but I don't want to believe that Peter Obi went to Borno State to give anybody spaghetti. I don't want to believe that. Or do I want to believe that, some persons that, I don't want to believe it. But if you have any evidence to back this up or to make reference to, please, I'm quite happy to learn. Now, if you go to the Southeast, there are people, whether you want to believe it or not, they voted for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. They voted for him, not that he gave them money. Maybe you can argue that, but there are people genuinely who came out and say, I want to vote for Bola Tinubu. There are people in the Southwest that voted for Atiku. There are people in the Southwest that voted for Obi, right? In the North, not everybody in the North voted for Tinubu because of the Muslim ticket. There are those who voted for him because they believed in him. So I still believe there are some percentage of Nigeria, maybe not a large percentage of Nigeria, who still go out there and vote for the candidate of their choice. All right. Sorry, guys, I'm just buying time because I do not have any more speakers. All right. I'm not arguing with comrade here, just to see if there's any other person who would like to contribute. But since we do not have any other person, and I'm buying time to see if we can. All right. Sorry. Before I respond to, I pass the mic. Let me quickly do what I do to silly people like one person here. Okay. All right. Take care. You raise your hand. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to, I'm sure, Comrade.
Gosh, Take care. I'm not sure what happened. Take care is still on the platform, right? His mic is on, but he's not speaking. Ola, please, can you help?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Take care is from your end. Your mic is on, but you're not saying anything. As we wait for Mr. Jimmy Abia to rejoin us, or any other person that would like to be part of the conversation. Please, guys, it's very important I say this. I know you guys, I bore you guys with my, repeating this. You don't have to be part of the conversation. You don't have to like what we are doing here, right? But one thing I will not condone is you being on the comment section and throwing words. You don't have to be here. All right, we are having a conversation. Maybe if you think we are wasting our time, but just allow us to waste our time. Nobody asked you to come and be part of it. Please, it's very important, right? Don't insult myself or any of the speakers. If you disagree with us, you can put out your comment and say, we do not agree with this. But the idea that you be on a comment section and insult people and say they, use words that is not acceptable on this platform, I will block you. I know it wouldn't stop anything from you, right? As I wait for any other person who would like to contribute, please do raise your hand. If we don't have any other person who is interested in contributing, then I think we probably will. Okay, I've seen Take Care is requesting again. We'll end the spaces and hopefully come back again. Take Care, you're back. Hello? Please, somebody
Yes, I'm back.
Okay,
Yeah,
sir.
I'm back.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I think I can confidently say that mindset, you need to switch your phone to an iPhone. You will die on this hill on Android, but we'll be battling you.
Okay, let me allow you to finish, then I will respond to that.
So comrade, I was just, before I got switched to the listener section, I was just responding to comrade. I'm sure comrade used the word learned people when he was making a submission to people that voted otherwise in error. I'm sure if he was given an opportunity to use a different word, he would have, because you cannot tell us that the allotted 6 million votes Peter Obi got were not learned people. There's learned, the market woman is learned in her own way. Somebody, to me, if I'm able to convince you to go a different way, out of your norm, I'm able to communicate with you in a manner you comprehend and you support my argument to go a different route. Like you confirmed, Bonu you know, Peter Obi did well in Borno. I did my own advocacy for him in the Northwest. We got votes that people thought was impossible for us to get in the Northwest, So, uh, Leonard, I don't like using that word when it comes to politics. If you communicate to people and appeal to them in a manner they can agree with and they vote for you outside of the financial inducement, I think that's a more lasting way to do things. We didn't have money to give anybody. Who had money to be dashing around to the people in the north to vote for Peter Obi? And some people will come out and say, oh, it was just people in one part of the north that voted for Peter Obi. That's not true. We have data to support and say otherwise. In the aspects of parts of the north, especially in Kano, where there were no presence. There's zero presence of people of the P2B's extraction did not exist in that region. They still voted for him. So I just wanted to just, ease whatever people may have felt on the listener section when they use that word learned people. Like you have also proven that you saw data to show otherwise, that people outside of his extraction, ethnic extraction, voted for him en masse. He got respectable numbers, that's what I wanted to just put out there. Thank you, Mindset.
All right, thank you very much, Teke. The interesting thing here is both Teke and Comrade, I work with these two individuals, and I must say, they are from they were supporting two different politicians, right? But these guys gave it all, right? Teke, remember those old good days? We'll finish spaces, we'll go on Zoom meetings, right? And same with Comrade. So these guys, they're not just on spaces because a lot of people would always have people are here talking. I know this one I don't believe in putting money, and I'm not a gambler, but see this guy, okay? He work his ass off. Permit me to use the word ass, right? This guy work. I can tell you because I know the conversation that we had during that elections, and I did my little best, and but these guys work hard. So for you seeing them on the platform saying this thing, they knew exactly what they did. I knew, Comrade would be in. He'll be traveling with the PDP. Then he was, before we have a conversation where, they are in Delta State, they are in this and in that and everything. So these guys work really, really hard. So for both of them to have this, fallen back, this thing, they are not enemies. They're from two different camps, but I must tell you, we are not joking here, right? Most people you see here contributed their own quota in what transpired. You probably might say, okay, what about Ola? Ola might not be there, you might not see him, but his impact, he impacted a lot of people. He encouraged a lot of people from his state to go out and vote. That I know for a fact, right? You can talk about Henry. These guys play their own parts, right? And Captain and every one of you on this platform, you might not be there, but you play your own parts. So the idea that people open spaces and they talk. No, some of these guys don't just talk. Forget about me. I like to talk. I didn't participate. I didn't do anything. I was just by the side trying to see how I can solve my problem, the problem of my phone. Anyway, let me go back to my phone because somebody made a comment about my phone. Mazi Ezdoke, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Mindset. I think this issue of phone, it has lingered enough. And I believe with the new iPhone 17, maybe 17 Pro Max will eventually solve it.
Mazi, please, I'm going to interject. Please, sir, please. Don't join these people. I beg you now. You're my person now. Please, if there's anybody who will be
I'm not joining them.
Please. The thing here is, it was Captain that started this thing, right? It was Captain that started, and the truth of the matter is, on Saturday, I lost that phone. I lost that phone.
Oh, dear.
Yes, so he changed that phone. So let me just continue.
Well, I mean, since it's been like this now, he can actually bless you with one anyway. That's So, Mindset. The reason
where do you want to start? Do you want to start with Good Luck Jonathan, or you want to? Okay, go ahead.
No, I actually want to make contribution regarding the concept of zoning. I think considering that Nigeria is, as a country, has many ethnic nationalities and with geopolitical zones and states, you know, if we understand the concept of the geopolitical zones, is actually to bring ethnic nationalities and sort of group them, right? Now, in some areas like the southeast and southwest, it worked because you have predominantly one people. Now, in other parts of Nigeria, you have, it's more complex, especially within the northwest, northeast, and middle belt. Now, that aside, that's on the sixth geopolitical zone. If we now come back to the issue of rotation and equity, I think it's something Nigeria as a nation should embrace. Because if you look at it this way, you have countries, that have acknowledged that they are not a people, and they have done, stuff to bring in equity. If I take Switzerland, for instance, where you have within the commune, you have a president, then you have a VP from the other communes that, where you have the English speaking, the German, the French, and the Italian. Why do they do that? They do it just to make sure that everybody feels part of, this their state. Now, if we come back to Nigeria, I think if we go by the geopolitical regions, which actually was the intention in 1995 when that proposition was proposed by uh, Professor Swagwa and Alex Ekweme, then for Nigeria to be structured in this way. Now, what he does is, I'm from Anambra State. If I take Anambra State, for instance, zoning reduces tension. Zoning reduces tension. A case study is Anambra State. Anambra State has a entrenched zoning to a point that if you come out when your zone is not due for your zone, you seem like an idiot. An example is in the last election in 2021, Professor Soludo is from my local government, that is Aguata. Valentine Mozibo is from my local government, is from the same senatorial zone. Anduba is from the same senatorial zone, and late Dr. Ifanyuba from the same senatorial zone, Newi, that is South. You see that we had a very good competition, but in the primary, the reason why Okonkwo, the owner of United Nigeria, the reason why he lost the PDP primary, in fact, he was built to win that primary. But in that primary, the PDP didn't eventually go ahead to vote him, was because they considered it that it was not right at that point for him from Central, from Ogidi, that even the delegates from his own community, story has it that they didn't even vote for him because they knew it was something wrong in that sense. Now, fast forward again, this election that we have in Anambra State, or the one we'll be having on November 8th, you have Professor Soludo, who is from South, from Aguata. You have the PDP candidate from the South. You have the ADC and Labour Party, both from Nnewi. And the only person from, is only the YPP that is from the North. But again, you can also hear Soludo make jest and caricature of him, saying that he's just trying to test water. And if you come to Anambra, that mindset that Soludo has, saying, oh, we know he's not running, he's just trying to make himself popular, is the mindset of every Anambra person that we know is not yet his turn, he's just testing water. Now, if you come back after this election, in the next election that will be central, we now in the Anambra are expecting that we will see people like Kosita Chidoka, who is from Central, people like Okonkwo, he's from Central, it will now be an aberration for someone, myself, maybe Valentine Mozibo, or Chris Oba and co, who are from South, to now say we want to contest. Every other person, will have a no meeting to say to you, my brother, are you with your eyes? Because this is not the norm and the convention that has been established here in order to, one, make this equitable, that somebody cannot say, oh, since the creation of this state, we only had people from the central, they don't do this, they don't do the other one. If not the way it has been done, I tell you, if you leave it free and fair, it is going to be very, very difficult for somebody from Anambra North to win election. But by the way it has been done within the central and the south, by the way, when we talk about central, Onitsha is in central, Ekulobia is in south, Newi is in south. These are the three major cities in Anambra State. Obviously, Oka also in central. So when you look at it, you wouldn't then understand the reason why, if you do not do it this way in order to get in equity, you would have people stay somewhere kind of begrudgingly saying, oh, well, are we part of this state or not? Why is it that we are not being carried along? And if you look at it also, there is no part of the state that you go to that you do not have a first-class brain at any point in time. Juxtapose this to Nigeria. There is no region, there is no state in Nigeria that you do not have first-class brains that can do better than the sets that we have right now. It is a question of how do we make this entity equitable? If we continue in the sense of, oh, politics is gravity, wrong with it, then over time, there are people that we may know, okay, it's going to be very hard, right, for that to happen. A clear, good example, even when many people may not, want to see this as the truth, is if not that Yaradua died, it would have been, as of today, near impossible for someone from the region where Jonathan came from to be president. But you see what then happened, and eventually he became. So I think, in conclusion here, my submission, I think I am, when we come to the issue of zoning, 100% in support of, a structure that would, encourage zoning in Nigeria. Thank you very much, Mindset.
All right, thank you very much, Mazi Ezoke, for your wonderful submission. I please, if I may, is this being screen? Is this being recorded on your platform on Twitter? Sorry, on YouTube. Are you streaming this?
Yes, I joined as I stream. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So for those who would accuse me of not recording spaces, sometimes I open spaces. I don't know how it would turn out, but I'm pleased to say that people like Mazi will always, stream it, so you can follow him if you want to know what's happened when we started, how we got to where we are right now. He's streaming it, so it will be on his page on YouTube, right? Mazi, please, if you serve to do so, you can actually put your YouTube account on the Jumbotron, so those who would like to go and go back and listen to what we have discussed, what the discussion is all about, would want to do that. They might want to do that. But thank you very much. Do we have any other person who would like to contribute?
Okay. Can I go on?
Okay. Do we have? Okay. Yes, sir. We're here. You see? You met. Okay. We're here.
Yeah. So a lot has been said already. So I think most of the things I would have said, a lot of persons have actually talked about that. But the angle I want to come from is that what I have also looked at is that actually what Nigerians don't understand is that they will have better leadership in Nigeria if we were to have a proper zoning arrangement, not what we have today. What we have today is not really zoning. At the federal level, I mean, what we have is a system of whims and caprices. Whatever suits people at this, especially those at the top of the political parties. Let me explain. In 2023, there would have been no reason for an Atiku Abubakar to contest or emerge as candidate of the PDP if there was a proper zoning arrangement. It wouldn't have been possible. Now, so that means that we don't have that zoning arrangement. Again, if we had a proper zoning arrangement, Bola Ahmed Tinubu would not have been president, would not even have emerged candidate in 2023, Nigeria having had President Olusegun Obasanjo for 8 years, and Nigeria practicing a 6-zonal structure. Somebody here had said, oh, Nigeria, and I hear that a lot. And I think that either that the people who make that argument do not really understand the concept of, the zoning arrangements in Nigeria, or probably are being mischievous. Somebody will ask you, Nigeria has 250 ethnic groups. When will it go around the 250? No, zoning is not by ethnic groups. That's not how Nigeria zones. Nigeria zones, by, that is the way Nigeria, sort of tries to, not even that we zone because we are not zoning, but Nigeria tries to zone by geopolitical zones. So the 6 geopolitical zones. So probably you have a Yoruba person from the North Central. If it comes to the North Central, you cannot tell that Yoruba person from the North Central that he cannot contest when it is the turn of the North Central. You get my point? So it is not, or you tell somebody who is, from the groups, the Igboid groups in the South, and tell the person not to contest when it is a turn of the South. So zoning arrangement is by geopolitical zones, not really by ethnicity. But let me make the important point I wanted to make in terms of Nigeria getting the best of better leadership, maybe not the best, but better leadership in terms of when we have zoning. Now, if we had a proper zoning arrangement, every zone in Nigeria will want to present their best. For instance, if we had a proper zoning arrangement, the Northwest would never have given the country a Buhari. Let me tell you why it will be so. The reason why a Buhari was thrown up was simply because he was the only person who could defeat Jonathan. So what we practice now gives room for the grab it mentality, wrong, grab it, sort of mentality. If the presidency was zoned to the Southwest, they wouldn't have thrown up a Tinubu in 2023. So what I'm saying in effect is that if we have a proper zoning arrangement, a sort of an institutionalized, a documented, what we have now, because it is not in any document, so any people can come up and say and throw it aside and say they are not practicing it, they don't want to practice it. It's just like what PDP has, did to themselves. When even because the constitution of the party is not the constitution of the country, they could easily throw away, the stipulations of their constitution and decide to do something else, and that cost. So that makes it necessary for each zone, each political party to bring in someone who can grab it for them, not necessarily someone who is the best from that region. But if you have a proper zoning arrangement, you will see that people will calm down. Everybody will calm down and now start looking for who will be the best from this part. Let us, because you can't even drag it with them. So everybody will now concentrate on having the best from that side, because it is no longer a fight of the fit of the strongest in terms of, you know, money, power, and all of that, but a test of who can from that region serve the interest of the country the best. So that's why I think I have written about this. I wrote something prior, I think in 2021, on why Nigeria needs a proper a zoning system, a documented and institutionalized, a legalized zoning system, that it will even serve the country better if Nigeria has that than what we have today, where we say we are zoning, but indirectly we practice it in breach. So indirectly, what we do is that when it suits us, you know, we attempt to, we pretend to, you know, but we do not really practice the zoning the way it should be. I think if Nigeria would take this, Nigeria will get at least running for some time, because even the arrangement which was proposed by Ekweme and co was not meant to be forever. It was meant to stabilize the country. And after stabilizing the country, then we can now say, okay, and then unifying the country. So when you have achieved that stabilization and unity, the real in the real terms, not just the unity of everybody being called in Nigeria, but in the real sense of unity, then you can now decide to, okay, whoever comes. But at that point, the people would have understood that, okay, we are going for a good candidate regardless of where he's coming from. Because with what we have now, where religion, ethnicity, and all sorts of things, sorts of mundane things play a role in determining the leadership, in determining how people vote. And then again, there's also another point which I want to make. Now, it would also be necessary that in the time we are practicing it, for instance, if we say we're going to have this for the next 30, 40 years, an institutionalized zoning arrangement and documented. Now, it will also be important that within that time, Nigeria pays a lot of emphasis on education. On education. You know why I talk about education? Look, giving people universal franchise in a place where people are uneducated, are not educated, are not they are not educated, they are also not economically empowered, but most importantly, education, where people are not educated, highly educated. You know what is you're doing? You're actually sending those people on a suicide mission in terms of leadership. Now, there is no country, please, this can be also, anybody can try to disprove me. There is no country, any of the developed countries in the world, that at the level of its nascent development implemented universal franchise as we have it in Nigeria, where every Dick and Harry who does not even understand who he's voting for will go and throw in a vote and determine his president. No. What they usually would have is either that they elect people in the parliament and the parliament will decide, or that they have a people's party, which they call a people's party, like in China, that have a well organized, institutionalized system of leadership such that the next leadership coming forward. Or you have the system in America where you have a collegiate system, so that even after you have voted, there is also another system of determining based on the interest people have in that system. What I mean in the interest is that in terms of almost like shareholding, that is how these countries, and look across the world, countries that developed had a form or system of this, of intentionally determining that, ensuring that their citizens, that their leadership is determined by the people who have the highest stake in ensuring that it works, and the people who are possible, or the people, and either one, the people who have the higher level of education or some other major interest to ensure that that system works. Now, am I advocating that Nigeria should change this system and go by? No, we have practiced the current system too long that if you try to change it, you will have a lot of pushback. So I am not advocating for that. But in place of that, what we can have as, like a midpoint, like a, like, when they, like a midpoint, a middle point, sort of marrying the two sides, is to have this thing I call zoning. That zoning will now put in place systems for getting the best in each particular zone whenever it comes to that zone. And in that way, you can practice it for a while, and then within that time, try to improve the educational system, the economic welfare of the people, of the citizenry, such that whenever you throw up leadership later on, you will have, someone among the best of the country governing the country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jimmy, for your wonderful submission. We should be rounding up soon. That was the reason I raised my hand. I do believe there are people who would like to respond to some of the things that you said. And I can see we have others requesting for the mic. Please indicate on the comment section, that you're requesting for the mic. Then we probably might see what we can do to bring you up. Do we have anybody who wants to ask a question to Jimmy or any of the speakers on the comment section? On the speaker session? Based on what we have discussed this evening, we started with Goodluck Jonathan running. Do you think the court will allow him? Then, everything will move to zoning, and that's where we are at this point. Comrade, please go ahead, sir. Thank you.
Okay, Mindset. Sorry. Let me round up because I got to go. It's almost time for me at the office. You see, before I go, my closing remark is I don't want to dwell much on Peter Obi and some of his followers like we earlier discussed. Right now, I'm in a part of my time where I'm willing for it to work. And to be honest, if not Atiku, then the only politician I can vote for and go out and actually make people vote for is Peter Obi. So I like him in his own person, and I know and I believe his capabilities. So I will say I don't want us to go back to yesterday. What do I mean by yesterday? Where as a PDP supporter, I was fighting an Obi supporter who is from Labour Party. But right now we are trying to unite. But there's one thing that strikes me. You see, I just want to say this, and it's coming from the bottom of my heart. And I'm speaking, I know, for many people who maybe cannot speak. If we are going to have this coalition, even if Atiku is not on the mandate, even if it's Peter Obi is not on the mandate, look, politics is about interest. It's about making people believe you. There is this thing that most people that support Peter Obi do that I feel is wrong. Either Peter Obi or nobody. Look, he might be the best candidate right now, but he needs to reach out his arms to people make them believe, to come and tell them to vote for him. So you cannot tell people it's either Peter Obi or nothing, and then you expect them to work for you. It doesn't work that way, because politics is about interest. You have to massage people's ego. You have to make them know the reason why they should come to you. So if we are going to work together, they should understand that. That's one. And two, one thing I've heard them say is that Peter Obi's 6 million votes is actually his own. But any other vote that anybody gets is either rigged or so. But his 6 million votes, all of them are his own. They are not rigged. I'll leave that for another day. Like I said, I'm trying to see how we can champion him. I don't have a problem with Obi in person, but I might have a problem with people that support him. But to be honest, if not Atiku, he's my second option. And I rest the case here. Thank you very much for giving me this platform, and thank you very much to my listeners. Look, I may not have said everything correctly because I am human. Perfection is an attribute of God alone. But I believe that from the things we've discussed, we've learned from each other, And moving forward, irrespective of political party, religion, or tribe, moving forward is how to see Nigeria becomes great, which is what matters to most of us. Like somebody like me, I was against the Muslim ticket. I voted for Jonathan over Buhari. I voted for Obasanjo over Buhari. So there's nothing you can come and tell me. Where my conviction stands is where I go. It doesn't matter the religion or tribe. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, comrade. It appears you wanted to start another conversation, right? You actually started a new topic, okay? But we do not have enough time for that. I mean, if anybody wants to get involved in politics is about negotiation. It's about trying to see how you can win people over. If people feel that the right way to say their candidate is telling Nigerians that is that candidate or not, and if that's their strategy, I am not going to question why they choose that strategy. That might be what work for them because they believe they have the best candidate, so they're telling you it's either you have the best or you have nothing, right? So it might be a strategy for them. So that is their own position, and they might be able to convince you and say, "Come over and let's work together." If you guys want to work together, that is your own, that's between yourself and those individuals. But thank you. Do we have any other person who would like to add any other thing? Please let's not start another topic because we round up and hopefully we'll come back some other time. Do we have any other person who would like to add anything based on what we have discussed this evening? All right, since we do not have any other individual who would like to add anything, I want to thank every one of you. Comrade, Ola, Henry, Mazezoke, Jimmy, and Teke. Do you have any other? There might be another speaker that I missed. It's been refreshing listening to every one of you. This is what this platform is all about. We're here with sometimes we agree, we disagree, but we try to learn from one another, right? For me, the most important thing here is I learn a lot from every one of you. Like Comrade said, some of the things we have said here, people might not believe it, people might dislike it, but we'll continue to talk. We'll continue to talk and educate ourselves and learn from one another. I don't know when next we're going to be here. There's a possibility you'll see me here later this evening. But on that note, I want to wish you guys a lovely evening. Please, before I end this space, okay, let me do final thoughts. Take your final thoughts in a minute, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mindset, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to air our views. Like Conrad said, I knew he spoke from the words he used. It's what it is. And like you said, everybody has their own tactics, everybody has their own strategy to solidify their stance, and they hope it'll be or nothing. Yeah, I get it. It runs people the wrong way, but the pit or be or nothing is not meant for others. It's meant for that group of people. I know how the obedience can rub people the wrong way. I get it 100%. We all agree to some degree, even within obedient movement. It's not like it's a holistic thing, but it's what it is. The experiment of 2023, I call it an experiment, was to make sure that, to test the waters. Are there good enough people in Nigeria to want a good thing for themselves? And I think 2023 elections proved it. So I don't ramble up and go over your 1 minute mark. Thank you for having us again. Thank you, myself. You.
All right. Thank you very much. Ola, your final thoughts, sir. Ola, your final thoughts, sir.
Hi, Mindset. Well, final thoughts. Nigerians of whatever persuasion, the thing that we should have as our goal, our end game, is a better Nigeria for not just whether you want to call them educated classes, whether you want to call them the elected leaders. We want a Nigeria that works for everybody. Male, female, Muslim, Christian, traditionalists, South, Southeast, Southwest. We just want a country that works for all of us. And we need to unite, more or less come together like the Avengers to defeat Thanos. and then we will have a better world that we can live in, a better Nigeria that we can live in, and we can be proud to call our home. Thank you. That would be my final.
Thank you very much. I would then pass the mic to Jimmy. You've spoken already, but let's allow you for your final thoughts, sir. Right. It appears Mr. Jimmy is no longer with us here, and Barrister Henry is no longer on the platform. So on that note, I'll pass the mic to Mazi Ezoke.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mindset. Final thought here. Nigeria at 65. Next election in 2 years' time. Sad part that I am much certain that we will have a 2027 election that is not going to be different from what we had in 2023. And I'm willing to bet that it's going to be worse than what we had. And, you know, when I think about our trajectory as a nation, the things and at the speed with which we ought to.
Sorry, Mazi, I'm not sure if it's from my end, but I'm not able to hear.
Really?
Okay, no, you're back now. You're back. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, okay. I said my final thought. I think about the 2027 election, and I say to everybody who cares to listen that I do not see that we would have any better election. How disappointing that may be. I hear people talk about electoral reform, and I can bet anyone that nothing will be reformed before the 2027 election, and we may end up having election that will be worse than what we had in 2023. And it is a sad reality as to what is happening now. Those that we have elected from our various states who have converged in Abuja somewhat have appeared to have forgotten the reason why and the urgency of now why they have converged. And we appear to be moving only in one direction, that sometimes you wonder, is it how we are going to get to our El Dorado, where others are moving at lightning speed? We appear to be held down by things that are mundane and things that are not making sense at all. So when I look at it, you know, people might think, oh, we have a brighter future. I want to be that optimistic, but sadly, reality doesn't allow me to be that optimistic. But one thing we have is our minds, our thoughts. We must keep talking, hoping against hope that one day things may get better. I yield. Thank you very much once more. Yeah, Mindset.
Thank you very much, and thanks to every one of you who have contributed. It's been a very interesting conversation. I don't know how to end this spaces, but we have to end it now. Hopefully, we'll come back sometime, maybe this evening, maybe tomorrow. And for those who would who complain that spaces are not recorded, sometimes I just wanted to interact with people and we turn it into spaces. But people like Maz is here, so he has recorded it. He streamed it on his channel, and after this space, I want to believe that he will put his YouTube channel up there. So for those who would like to listen and from how we started and where we are right now, the most important thing is that every one of us have a part to play. In politics, 24 hours is a long day. It's a long time in politics. Never say never.